Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the to the Graven Back. Lois will not be joining us tonight because I know I think she said she had something going on tonight. If I'm correct, Wayne.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Rosie and Grizzly won't be able to make it either. So today it's just going to be us two, me and Wayne, and we got quite an interesting episode for today. Wayne is going to be presenting these weird and wonderful stories, if I'm correct, or what exactly are they?
Yeah. They're weird and wonderful, bizarre things from around the
Oh,
world.
thanks. Yeah.
Um, I've sort of given it the little subtitle of Wayne's Weird and Wonderful World, because I don't think there's so many things out there that us as human beings either are not aware of or we don't really sort of take much notice of. But really, some of these things are quite either clever, beautiful in some senses. Some of the items on tonight's list are quite attractive in a way and quite beautiful. A couple of them are quite disturbing and quite dangerous, really. And so I thought, you know what, let's do something that sort of puts it out there so people know about these things.
Right.
So we thought we'd give it a go.
Definitely different direction, but it's going to still be interesting regardless. Just real quick, hello, Mort. Good to see you. I'm sure we'll probably get a couple more showing up in the next few minutes or so, but this ought to be interesting regardless.
Yeah. So I just got an answer to Lois. She's just
Oh, did she message you personally?
Yeah. There we go.
Oh.
There we are. Right. So, anyway, so yes, basically I found 15 things that were really strange, bizarre, or beautiful, and I've picked 7 because I do think this will take a little while to go through because there's a little bit of history behind some of these things. And the first one, a few people will probably know of, and it's called Vanta Black. And this is a class of super black coating with total hemispheric reflectances below 1% in the visible spectrum. So it means that it literally absorbs near enough 99.965% of all visible light. So it's as black as it could possibly get. And the coating itself is unique in that they are super black and retain uniform light absorption from almost all viewing angles. So if you were to put it into a room, don't matter where the light source is coming from, there will be nothing can go through. You'll see no reflection. It absorbs everything. But the original Vanta Black is no longer manufactured for commercial applications, as it has been superseded by Vanta Black spray coatings that offer a similar optical performance in key parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. So basically, they've invented this super black, and they're adding to it. So they just keep on perfecting this black. So it gets to a point where it will be near enough 99.99%, because I don't think you'll actually ever truly get rid of stop all of the light from being absorbed. But Ben Jensen, the founder of Surrey Nanosystems, he invented the coatings, which were publicly unveiled in July 2014. And eventually it was commercialized by the scientific team from Surrey Nanosystems. The early development occurred at the National Physical Laboratory in the UK. The term Vanta was coined later in its development, and the Vanta Black name is trademarked by Surrey Nanosystems Limited and is referenced in 3 patents registered in the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So it's a bit of a strange one to patent it in America when it's invented here in the UK. It could have been patented here. But evening, Nicola.
Hello, Robert.
But as of last year, Vanta Black coatings are very costly, and Surrey Nanosystems refuses to supply them to a private individual and provides samples only for applications they deem valid. Several other firms have also distributed vertically aligned nanotube arrays, including Nanolab in Santa Barbara, Infrared, and others. So this has actually come out. It's been widely publicised, and people are like, "Oh, we'll get some of that. We'll get some of that," and they're not allowed to. I suppose, in a way, it has. To start off with, I did wonder why Vanta Black would be put out there for people if you're not going to be able to use it, because the implications for it are quite weird. If you want to absorb heat, for instance, black is the best colour to use, whereas white reflects heat. So Vanta Black would have been a very good thing for heat absorption. So places like the North Pole, you could heat your home just by having Vanta Black coating on the roof.
Oh, wow. That's I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, I'm just kind of amazed right now with what you're talking, with what you're presenting. So words cannot even describe it.
There are videos on YouTube where people have managed to use paints and coatings similar, and I'm sure there was one guy who actually painted a room using a super black paint, and he used it as an example on how much light could be absorbed. And he was in this room, he had a light bulb, he then sprayed the room in this black, so it was completely blacked out, and the light, as the more of the room he painted, the darker and darker the room got, until it got to a point where when he switched off the light, you couldn't see anything. You couldn't see the corners, you couldn't even see where he was standing.
Oh, really?
And even on a night vision camera, it was very difficult to see him.
Jeez.
And that's because the second the light gets put out, this super black absorbs it. So it's bizarre, and the characteristics of this is it's composed of carbon nanotubes that absorb exceptionally high levels of visible light. It's widely considered one of the darkest pigments created. When applied to three-dimensional objects, Vanta Black produces the appearance of a two-dimensional surface or void space.
Wow. Hey, Kate's here in the house. Good to see you, Kate.
Okay. So again, there's quite possibly a military use for that.
I could see why, for that matter. I mean, it's just like it's definitely a very beneficial thing.
I mean, if you were to paint a tank in Vanta Black, you're going to distort the observations of an opposing force.
Yeah, especially like at night, if you decide to do it right.
You're not going to have.
They're not going to see you at all.
They won't see a tank. They might see an object, but they're not going to see a tank.
I was going to say they might even hear it, but they're not going to know. They're not even going to know exactly where it's coming from, because they can be looking to their left, not realizing it's actually approaching them from their right.
Yeah, they're not going to know it's there until their right arm's just gone half a mile the other way.
Exactly.
So it does have some very strange properties to it, which, again, like we said, it has a lot of uses there available. Vanta Black is composed of a forest of vertical nanotubes, and they're grown on a substrate using a modified chemical vapor deposition. When light strikes Vanta Black, instead of bouncing off, it becomes trapped and continually deflected amongst the tubes. It's then absorbed and eventually dissipated as heat. So it converts light into heat.
Interesting.
So this is where Vanta Black would be ideal in places like Alaska, North Pole, Lapland, Greenland, Iceland, and down south as well. Yeah. Simply because it absorbs light and turns it into heat.
Okay.
So it's a good idea. CVD Vantablack was an improvement over similar substances developed at the time. Vantablack absorbs 99.965 of visible light and can be created at 400 degrees C or 752 degrees Fahrenheit. And NASA had previously developed a similar substance that was grown at 750 degrees centigrade, which required materials to be more heat resistant than Vantablack. Darker materials are possible. In 2019, MIT engineers developed a CVD material which reflects a tenth of the amount of light that Vantablack reflects. And the outgassing and particle fallout levels of Vantablack are low compared to similar substances, which makes it more commercially viable. Vantablack is resistant to mechanical vibration and exhibits thermal stability.
Really?
So again, military use.
Yeah, a lot of military use for that matter.
And of course, that's probably why they're not wanting to give it out to the public, because there's
it's like almost like one of those top secret military government projects, if you will.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, yes, it's quite possible. Simply because if you were to release something as in a sense quite important to the military establishment, all it would take is for somebody to get a sample and work out, well, reverse engineer it, try and work out how to make it themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
That then makes it possible to be able to sell it to just about anybody.
Right.
So, but I've just found that the applications, as one of the darkest materials, Vantablack has many potential applications, such as preventing stray light from entering telescopes and improving the performance of infrared cameras, both on Earth and in space. Surfaces coated with Vantablack are highly suitable for emitting and absorbing black body radiation. These coatings possess suitable durability, which enables them to perform well in diverse temperature ranges and environments such as vacuum and air applications. Consequently, using Vantablack coatings in optical configurations can enhance the overall performance. In addition to directly growing aligned carbon nanotubes, Vantablack is made into two sprayable paints with randomly orientated nanotubes. Vantablack SVIS and Vantablack SIR, with better infrared absorption than the former. These paints require a special license, a temperature of 100 to 280 degrees centigrade, and a vacuum post-processing. Surrey Nanosystems also markets a line of non-nanotube sprayable paints known as Vantablack VBX that are even easier to apply. Vantablack also sparked interest from the scientific community for use in cameras and sensors. Its distinctive characteristics make it a desirable material for cinema projectors, lenses, luxury products, and design items. Furthermore, its light-absorbing properties have the potential to improve the efficiency of solar panels and cells.
Wow.
So without actually reading down that far, obviously, talking about it absorbing light and turning it into heat, it's obviously says there on the bottom bit with, improves the efficiency of solar panels. Yeah.
Hello, Roger. Good to see you here.
Evening, Roger, or afternoon, wherever you are. So it is a very bizarre. It doesn't do it justice on a phone, but here we go.
Here, hold on, I'll zoom in on that one. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, mirror reflection, look. So yeah, it's it is a very weird. When you think, you go into a hardware store and you look for different types of paint. I always loved the idea of having a black bedroom. And my parents all went, no, you're not having a black bedroom. No way. When I got my first house, the first thing I did was painted my bedroom black. But I couldn't get it black enough.
You gotta go darker.
The light would come in through the window and you would get some degree of light bounce back off the walls. Whereas if I had painted my bedroom with this, the light would have come in through the window and it wouldn't have gone nowhere. It would have just gone straight into the wall. And then it would have got warmer in the bedroom because it gets turned into heat.
Jeez.
So the actual implications for someone in a home, this would be a game changer for things like energy usage. Because instead of having gas or electric central heating, all you'd have to do is use this on the outside of the house or on the inside on the walls, and it would take in the light and generate heat.
Right. See, I always, honestly, I actually originally wanted to have my room also painted black too, but unfortunately, I wasn't the decision maker for that one, so I wasn't able to. Hey, Vaughn.
But now you have, because you've now got a black wall with things behind it.
Well, the green screen can sometimes count, I guess.
But I mean, it was literally I had to do it, and then I got the opportunity. I'm like, right, that's it. So I put various pictures on the wall. I had one of a UFO with an alien underneath going, "Take me to your leader," and my partner said, "You've got to get rid of that because that's freaking me out." So I'm like, okay. And the logo from Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. I put that on my wall, and I loved every bit of it, and it was just nice to actually be able to do what I wanted on my walls rather than have to go with what everybody wanted. So yeah, that's Vanta Black.
That's very interesting. I got him at. Oh, let's see here. Eric said, "Not me. I wanted my room to be purple." Okay.
No, I know the reason why. Eric is a Prince fan.
Yeah, now I know why, because of Purple Rain.
He's like, that's it. and then Eric had to change it again because it wanted to be turned to symbol.
I could see. You know what? I'm starting to understand that now. I can see why.
You can imagine it actually. Eric's bedroom, all
he's
purple.
Like, yeah. How did you guess?
And then right in the middle, it's the gold symbol right down the middle. And I hear somewhere along the line, Eric did put in an auction for one of Prince's guitars.
What? He really did that? No,
I'm joking.
Okay, good. I was going to say, wait. I was like, you got to have a fortune for something like that.
No, you laugh. I did something really crazy and totally off the run of the mill. I wouldn't normally have done this. But you're aware of the theme tune to The Exorcist?
Oh, yeah, the Tubular Bells. Yeah.
Tubular Bells, Mike Oldfield. I have managed to obtain one of 100 Tubular Bells Christmas tree baubles.
What?
There's only 100 in existence, and I've got one coming in November.
That is crazy. Wow.
And I'm just like, why did I just buy this random object? But I'm a big fan of Mike Oldfield, so when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I've got to have this. So sold. Oops. I'll worry about it later. So, yeah. It's not going on the Christmas tree, honest.
I probably wouldn't.
Not with my children. I wouldn't last 5 minutes for my children.
Yeah, exactly.
Then there'd only be 99 in existence.
That would be gone, and you'd never see it again, probably.
Sorry, just had to say goodnight to one of my children.
Hey, Kelly, good to see you here.
Okay, so now we move on to our second item. Now, this one, if you thought Vanta Black was weird, this one is 10 times weirder. Okay. Some of you also would have heard this, and this is called aerogel. Now, aerogels are a class of synthetic, porous, ultralight material derived from a gel, in which the liquid component for the gel has been replaced with a gas, without significant collapse of the gel structure. The result is a solid with extremely low density and extremely low thermal conductivity. Aerogels can be made from a variety of chemical compounds. Silica aerogels feel like fragile, expanded polystyrene to the touch, while some polymer-based aerogels feel like rigid foams. The first documented example of an aerogel was created by Samuel Stevens Kistler in 1931, so quite a long time ago, as a result of a bet, with Charles learned over who could replace the liquid in jellies with a gas without causing shrinkage. Aerogels are produced by extracting the liquid component of a gel through supercritical drying or freeze drying. This allows the liquid to be slowly dried off without causing the solid matrix in the gel to collapse from capillary action, as would happen with conventional evaporation. The first aerogels were produced from silica gels. Kistler's later work involved aerogels based on alumina, chromia, and tin dioxide. Carbon aerogels were first developed in the late 1980s. And it's weird. And I will show you why, or tell you why. Well, I can show you as well.
Awesome.
Despite the name, aerogels are solid, rigid, and dry materials that do not resemble a gel in their physical properties. The name comes from the fact that they are made from gels. Pressing softly on an aerogel typically does not leave even a minor mark. Pressing more firmly will leave a permanent depression. Pressing extremely firmly will cause a catastrophic breakdown in the sparse structure, causing it to shatter like glass. Although more modern variations do not suffer from this, despite the fact that it is prone to shattering, it is very strong structurally. Its impressive load-bearing abilities are due to the dendritic microstructure, in which spherical particles of average size, which will be 2 to 5 nanomillimeters or something, are fused together into clusters. These clusters form a three-dimensional, highly porous structure of almost fractal chains, with pores just under 100 micro things. The average size and density of the pores can be controlled during a manufacturing process. An aerogel material can range from 50% to 99.98% of air by volume. But in practice, most aerogels exhibit somewhere between 90 and 99.8 porosity. The aerogels have a porous solid network that contains air pockets, with the air pockets taking up the majority of the space within the material. Aerogels are a good thermal insulator because they almost nullify two of the three methods of heat transfer: conduction, they are mostly composed of insulating gas, and convection, the microstructure prevents net gas movement. They're good conductive insulators because they are composed almost entirely of gas, which are very poor heat conductors. Silica aerogel is an especially good insulator because silica is also a poor conductor of heat. A metallic or carbon aerogel, on the other hand, would be less effective. They are good convective inhibitors because air cannot circulate through the lattice. Aerogels are poor radioactive insulators because infrared radiation passes through them. And an example is this brilliant picture. I love this picture. This is a prime example of the insulating properties of an aerogel.
Here on. Oh wow, check it out. That's just such a real picturesque photo.
Yeah. So the flower has been placed on a sheet of aerogel, and it's been placed over a Bunsen burner.
Vaughn had a question. Is that the same material used for something to do with musical soundproofing?
It can be used in a similar way to soundproofing. Applications. There we go. Right. Thermal insulation. So with fiber reinforced silica aerogel insulation boards, the insulating thickness can be reduced by about 50% compared to conventional materials. Then you've got a chemical absorber for cleaning up spills. Silica aerogels may be used for filtration, and they have a high surface area, porosity, and are ultra hydrophobic. They may be used for the removal of heavy metals, and this can be applied to wastewater treatment. As a daytime radiative cooling surface that is designed to be efficient in solar radiation and thermal emittance, aerogels may be lower in cost and negative environmental impacts than other materials. And then you can have a catalyst or a catalyst carrier. Silica aerogels can be used in imaging devices, optics, and light guides. They can be used in thickening agents in some paints and cosmetics. How, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I wondered too.
Stick a block of aerogel. Maybe it's like a scouring pad for your skin. An exfoliator. A bit like a pumice stone. Quite good, actually. So yeah, as components in energy absorbers. So again, like the Vanta Black, an energy absorber.
Okay.
Strange.
Yeah, it really is.
This one again is quite worrying in a sense because it's a military application. Laser targets for the United States National Ignition Facility.
Wow.
That's not too worrying. And they keep going on about all these weird lasers.
Yeah, I know.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
A material used in impedance matchers for transducers, speakers, and rangefinders. So pretty much close like what Vaughn was saying about sound and things. According to Hindawi's Journal of Nanomaterials, aerogels are used for more flexible materials such as clothing and blankets.
Really?
Commercial manufacture of aerogel blankets began around the year 2000, combining silica aerogel and fibrous reinforcement that turns the brittle aerogel into a durable, flexible material. The mechanical and thermal properties of the product may be varied based upon the choice of reinforced fibers, the aerogel matrix, and called opacification additives included in the composite. So clothes.
See, I never knew it was that recent too, by the way.
You'd have to have it coloured, wouldn't you? Because you certainly wouldn't want its natural form. You'd be going, you might as well not wear anything.
Exactly. Apparently, Eric says you could buy it on eBay.
Yeah, it's quite possible that because the manufacturing is probably so common and so easy to do that they've probably just said, we wouldn't be able to stop its manufacturer, so we might as well just be able to sell it out there. But it does have so many different properties. Even for NASA, silica aerogel has been used to capture cosmic dust, also known as space dust. NASA used. Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead.
NASA used an aerogel to trap space dust particles aboard the Stardust spacecraft. These aerogel dust collectors have very low mass. The particles vaporize on impact with solids and pass through gases, but can be trapped in aerogels. NASA also used aerogel for thermal insulation for the Mars rovers.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've always followed a lot with the Mars rovers lately, like what's been going on over there, but I had no clue whatsoever that they also use aerogels on those.
It wasn't until recently that I actually heard about aerogels, and I saw the picture with the flower on top of a sheet of it, and thought to myself, "Wow, how cool is that?" It stops that much heat from getting through. That flower's not even wilting; it's not burning. It just doesn't react.
Right.
And it didn't look that thick. What? Look, 1.5 centimeters, 2 centimeters thick.
Yeah.
So it must, obviously it works. The US Navy,
excuse me.
the US Navy evaluated use of aerogels in undergarments as passive thermal protection for divers. Similarly, aerogels have been used by NASA for insulating the spacesuits. So, it's even there. In particle physics, as radiators in Cherenkov effect detectors, such as the ACC system at the Bell detector used in the Bell experiment at KEKB, wherever that is. I don't know. Let's have a look, see what the KEKB is.
I was going to say, I've never heard of that before.
It's a particle accelerator used in the Bell experiment to study CP violation. It's in Japan.
Oh, okay.
That answers that one.
Yeah, that does.
Used as okay. Resorcinol formaldehyde aerogels, which are polymers chemically similar to phenol formaldehyde resins, are used as precursors for manufacture of carbon aerogels or when an organic insulator with large surface is desired. So again, insulation.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my word. Well, that's bizarre. As a drug delivery system, owing to its biocompatibility. Due to its high surface area and porous structure, drugs can be absorbed from supercritical CO2. The release rate of the drugs can be tailored by varying the properties of the aerogel.
Really?
So that's we've gone from clothing to insulation, drug delivery systems in hospitals.
This gel could basically be used for like just about almost everything.
Next, they'll be serving it to us in Big Macs.
Who knows? Also, like maybe with future computers like we're using for these podcasts, they'll probably also be made out of aerogel.
Yeah. So, but I mean, yes, Von's right. Formaldehyde is toxic, but I suppose it depends on.
Yeah, it is toxic. Yeah,
how it's composed of within the aerogel, because we know it's a decent insulator.
Right.
Depending on how it's mixed with the aerogel, how it's made within the aerogel, would depend on how toxic it would become. And they're talking about it as an organic insulator with a large surface. So there must be some part of the formaldehyde they've taken out to be used within the aerogel. But then you've got, oh my word, this is getting stranger and stranger. Dunlop Sport use aerogel in some of the tennis rackets.
Really? What? How's that even possible?
Can you imagine? Roger Federer's just served an ace. I've got a bit of a headache, and then he rubs his tennis racket on his head. I'm fine now. Oh, I'm ready to go. Sprain the ankle. It's all right. Just put your tennis racket on it for a second. But then we got water purification. Chalca gels have shown promise in absorbing the heavy metal pollutants mercury, lead, and cadmium from water. Aerogels may be used to separate oil from water, which could, for example, be used to respond to oil spills. Aerogels may be used to disinfect water, killing bacteria.
Wow.
It's it's strange.
It really
Aircraft
is.
aircraft de-icing. So de-icing aircraft. A new proposal uses a carbon nanotube aerogel. A thin filament is spun on a winder to create a 10-micron thick film. The amount of material needed to cover the wings of a jumbo jet weighs 80 grams. Aerogel heaters could be left on continuously at lower power to prevent ice from forming.
Wow.
Thermal insulation transmission tunnel of the Chevrolet Corvette. So we're going to cars now.
No wonder why they say that it's good for skin. It probably dissolves it. So basically, it's kind of like acid in a way.
Yeah, so maybe Roger Federer shouldn't use it to get rid of his headache.
Yeah. You would just dissolve yourself, in other words.
Wow. Camelback uses aerogel as insulation in a thermal sports bottle.
Really? Wow.
So now they're getting you to drink it.
Won't that dissolve you from the inside then? Because if they say if it dissolves, I mean, if it could dissolve you from the outside, there's a good likely chance it would dissolve you from the inside if you drink it.
45 North uses aerogel as palm insulation in its Sturm Fist 5 cycling gloves.
Oh, jeez.
Now,
I mean, how much more can you go with the list, though? I gotta ask.
Well, this one is where Von has got it spot on. Silica aerogels may be used for sound insulation, such as on windows or for construction purposes. So Von's got it right there. It can be used for soundproofing.
Really? Okay, so yeah, that kind of answers Von's question then from earlier.
Yeah. So, and this last one again, it just goes from one extreme to the other. It goes from healing people to killing people. It has been suggested that Fogbank, a material of secret composition used in US thermonuclear warheads, may be an aerogel.
Oh my gosh. This gel is just not almost like me. It's mind up. First, they're saying it's supposed to save lives. Now it's saying it's not saving lives.
Well, yeah, take a life away or preserve it.
Yeah,
there is. Look.
I don't even know what to say now.
Strange.
It's really strange. No doubt about that.
So what a bizarre thing.
Yeah, it saves your life, but it doesn't save your life.
Depends on what you do for a living.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're in the military, then you might be all right. It just depends on whether they've got aerogel as well.
Yeah, as far as like, I guess if you're just taking it at home, well, hope you had a good life.
I suppose in a way, you could make a big cock up somewhere along the line. If you were military and you had this thermonuclear warhead and you decided to press the button, you have to make sure that you've got the right aerogel. You could launch this nuclear warhead, it lands and blows up, and all of a sudden everybody that was sick is now all of a sudden better. So instead of killing them, you've actually healed them.
You saved their lives. You may have destroyed their homes, but hey, at least they're all better.
Well, if it's the wrong aerogel, it might insulate their homes.
It might.
And soundproof them at the same time.
Yeah. They'll never even know what hit them because they couldn't even hear it.
They wouldn't know what hit them. They'd all of a sudden just go, do you know what? I feel really good.
That's like just kind of like a silent movie or something like that. What's going on, Gary? Good to see you.
Evening, Gary. Anyway, so we've had two bizarre inventions. Now we're going to go to something natural. And this is called Eucalyptus deglupta.
I've heard of the eucalyptus, but I never heard of the rest of that one before.
Okay. Well, Eucalyptus deglupta sounds Indian. Okay. But it's a species of tall tree commonly known as the rainbow eucalyptus, Mandano gum or rainbow gum. And this is native to the Philippines, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea. And it's the only eucalyptus species that usually lives in rainforest. With a high natural range that expands into the northern hemisphere, it's characterized by multicolored bark.
Really?
It's not someone going crazy with Sharpies and going along going, hey, all over the tree. The tree bark is naturally that color. And I'm not going to go into the specifics because it's a lot of measuring and inches and centimeters and millimeters, and it's just basically different. Basically, the bark is different colors, and it just looks so strange when you see it. So here we are. Now that's
hang on, let me zoom in on that one.
Natural rainbow.
I was going to say, I could see why it's called the natural rainbow in a way because of the different colors involved.
Yeah. So it looks like someone's attacked it with paint or a Sharpie. But
like they just like threw it on or something.
Yeah, that is the actual bark itself that's grown that color.
Wow. That's actually really pretty.
Yeah, and this obviously this is the purpose as to why I decided to do this, because not that many people know these things. They're out there, and we just sort of don't realize it.
Right.
And you think, even though humans are so clever with different inventions and their ideas, yet we've got all these things within nature that, we don't really sort of pay much attention to. And it is, where was it? I think it was first discovered by Western society back in 1854, even as far back as 1850. It was first formally described in 1850 by Carl Ludwig Bloom, who published the description of it in his book Museum Botanicum Lugduno Batavum, and loads of other weird Latin words. That's a book title. It's a book title that could be just described weird and wonderful plants, but it's got about 30 odd words to it. It's basically from material collected in mountain forests, and it means something to the meaning peeled off, husked, or shelled.
Really?
The meaning of basically what he's called it. Then in 1914, Adolf Daniel Edward Elmer described Eugenia Banakac in the leaflets of Philippine botany, the specific epithet of Banakac and local name for the tree, but in 1915 changed the name to Eucalyptus banacag. However, the species had already been named E. deglupta by Bloom in 1850, so it had already been named, and there was a lot of hassle about who had what. But the rainbow eucalyptus grows in lowland and lower montane forest from sea level to altitudes of up to 1,800 meters. It is native to Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and the Philippines, but has been widely planted in many other countries. The populations of this species are severely fragmented in the wild, and the overall population is decreasing. Over the last 210 years, it has estimated that there has been more than 30% decline of the overall population. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature listed E. deglupta as a vulnerable species in 2019.
Really?
So, it's obviously they're on the decline. They're not, they're obviously, they're not really interested in sort of keeping it going. But I suppose in sort of Indonesia and that they use whatever materials they can get their hands on. So it's, obviously it's a bit sad that such a pretty tree like that's been in decline because it's being used.
Really?
Because it is being used as pulpwood. This tree is grown widely around the world in tree plantations, mainly for pulpwood, used in making white paper. It is the dominant species used for pulpwood plantations in the Philippines. So it's their main source, the main source for the paper.
Huh. Okay.
Eucalyptus diglucta are commonly planted as ornamental trees in forest-free climates such as Hawaii, Southern California, Texas, and Florida. It is planted in at least 3 locations in coastal Los Angeles County, including Santa Monica, San Marino at the Huntington Botanical Garden. These trees were still growing, but relatively young at approximately 30 to 40 years in 1988 at the UCLA Botanic Garden and as an LA City street tree. If grown from seed, the temperature should be around 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Plants can be grown from cuttings of trees younger than 5 years old, and once a tree reaches 5 years of age, root inhibition prevents the generation of roots from cuttings. It thrives in rich medium to wet soil in full sun and is intolerant of frost. In botanical gardens such as Fairchild Tropical Botanic Garden in Florida, the tree does show the intense color range as seen in the tree's normal range.
Vaughn was asking, where was that? Oh, she was asking, is that what they use for vegetation?
I would assume so, because in countries like the Philippines, Papua New Guinea especially, and Indonesia, it's going to be it would have been a widely planted tree. There is no reference to whether the leaves are edible by animals. Because obviously we know eucalyptus is the Australian eucalyptus is eaten by koala bears.
Really? Okay, so all right, yeah, that makes sense.
And the actual the flavoring eucalyptus, we use it in things like gums, chewing gum. Airways, they use eucalyptus in a gum called Airways, which helps clear your sinuses and your nose. Vicks Vapor Rub.
Vicks Vapor Rub we've used, yeah.
Yeah, they put eucalyptus in that as well. We had a cough sweet here called Lockets, and they were like a ball sweet with a liquid center. And when you got through to the liquid center, you got this eucalyptus oil and that going into your throat, which helped soothe your throat. And again, that's come from the eucalyptus tree, but whether it's this particular one or not, we don't know. But it's, obviously they are doing plantations of it to try and help keep the species going. But obviously the more they plant, the more the others are taking it away by chopping it down to use for paper. And so I think by sidelining it as an endangered species, I think is probably quite appropriate to try and stop it from being completely chopped down.
Yeah. Apparently, she also brought up too, by the way, that the Eden Project trailed it many years ago.
Yeah. The Eden Project, it's a beautiful place, and it basically is little domes, and each dome is a different climate. And so what they've done is they've put all the specific plants that would grow in that particular climate in each dome. So you have like the rainforest climate and so on. So you would go through different sections and you'd experience the temporal climates, the Mediterranean climates. So everywhere would look like a desert with a few cactus growing in it and things like that. And yeah, they did trial it in the Eden Project, but it's at the bottom of a crater. and you can walk down there and then get a little jeep take you back up again, or a little road train brings you back up to the top to the coach park.
I didn't even know that you could actually have access to it.
Yeah, it's been open for quite some time, I think. Have a look. I'm sure. I mean, because I went there many years ago. Yeah, let's have a look. I mean, it's a beautiful place, and it just looks really weird because it's just like all these big biodomes.
Yeah.
There's the Eden Project. So each one of those domes is a different climate.
Oh, so they're basically, yeah, like you said, they're like biospheres in a way.
Yeah, they are basically. So yes, it was. It's basically it's in Cornwall, and it's literally in a reclaimed clay pit, a China clay pit near St Austell.
That's been open for about many years, about 10 plus years since Vaughn went too.
Yeah, I mean it was used for over 160 years as a clay pit, and then in 1981 the pit was used as a planet surface for the TV series in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And then the mid-90s, the pit was just literally couldn't do nothing else with it. And then the actual idea for the Eden Project went back to about 1996, and then construction started in 98. And it was opened on the 17th of March 2001. So it's only 22 years old.
Okay, so it's still relatively not new, but it's still a relatively recent location.
Yeah, and I thought it was older than that, to be honest. But it was completed in May 2000, and then officially opened in March 2001, because obviously they had to get all the plants and everything in there. So it's a beautiful place. So if you ever get the chance to visit that area, definitely go down to the Eden Project and have a look, because it's quite spectacular, really, to go from one climate into another. It's like, I don't know, it's like going on a holiday, around the world trip, and visit all these different climates, but you're doing it in one day rather than over a matter of weeks.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Just to hear about all that.
So yeah, it's I think a beautiful place to go.
Yeah.
So we're going to go from Cornwall, and we're going to go over to Colombia. And I've never heard of this until a few days ago. This is called the Salt Cathedral of Zapiquari. Zapiquira. I will get it right. Forgive my pronunciation. So the Salt Cathedral of Zapiquira is an underground Roman Catholic church built within the tunnels of a salt mine 200 meters underground in a halite mountain near the city of Zapiquira in, this is going to be difficult, Cundinamarca in Colombia. It is a tourist destination and a place of pilgrimage in the country. The temple at the bottom has 3 sections representing the birth, life, and death of Jesus. The icons, ornaments, and architectural details are hand carved in the halite rock. Some marble sculptures are also included. The cathedral is considered one of the most notable achievements of Colombian architecture. Being described as a jewel of modern architecture, the cathedral represents a valuable cultural, environmental, and religious patrimony for the Colombian people. And the cathedral is a functioning church that receives as many as 3,000 visitors on Sunday, but it has no bishop and therefore no official status as a cathedral in Catholicism. It's a bit sad, really, isn't it? That
yeah,
you can call it a cathedral, and Roman Catholics go and visit, but there's no bishop for it.
Right. That just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, for that matter. Just the fact that there is no bishop there.
Well, yeah. If you look at any place that has a Catholic following, there's bishops.
Yeah,
Why not there?
yeah. That's what I mean. It just doesn't make any sense.
So, how was the mine or the mountain itself was formed? Well, the salt deposits in Zapiquira were formed around 250 million years ago, and they were raised above sea level during the late Tertiary period when the Andes was formed. So, the mountain itself, where the cathedral is, was formed when the Andes was formed.
So right around that same period, then, yeah.
So all around that same tertiary period, um, that mountain was formed as well, and they obviously mined it. Um, there we go. Right, the complex itself is located in Zapiquira in the Cundinamarca department, 49 kilometers north of Bogota. And it's at 2,652 meters altitude. The National Highway 45A connects Bogota with Zapaquira, as does the Tren de la Sabana. Cool. I got that pretty quickly. And the city is recognized not only for the cathedral, but for being near one of the oldest human settlements in the Americas, Alhambra archaeological site. So it's weird.
Yeah, it really is.
The halite mines were exploited.
Hey, Jeremy. Oh, yeah. Real quick. Yeah, I noticed. I thought there was a few destinations that were missing. There was only 4 of them. So thank you. Thanks, Jeremy.
So the halite mines were exploited already by the pre-Columbian Muisca culture since the 5th century BC. Being one of their most important economic activities, the traditional halite mining was described by Alexander von Humboldt during his visit to Zipaquira in 1801. He depicts this deposit as bigger than the main halite mines of the time, such as those in Spain, Switzerland, Poland, and country of Tyrol, with a calculated resource estimation of 1 million cubic meters. The Salt Cathedral in Poland was the only one I ever knew of. I never realized that there were other salt cathedrals, so finding this was pretty good. Von Humboldt also criticized the excavation techniques being unpracticable for future exploitation, recommending drift mining instead, since the halite tunnels don't require beams, lowering the costs. So years before the underground church was built, around 1932, the miners had carved a sanctuary as a place of for their daily prayers, asking for protection to the saints before starting work. In 1950, the construction of a bigger project had begun. The Salt Cathedral, which was inaugurated on August the 15th, 1954, and dedicated to Our Lady of the Rosary, patron saint of miners. It was compound of 3 naves and a monumental cross. Part of the galleries were actually carved by the ancient Muisca. However, as the church was carved inside an active mine, structural problems and safety concerns led to the authorities to shut it in September 1992. This construction cost of the original church was over 285 million US dollars. The building had 120 meters length, 5.500 meters square surface, and 22 meters height. It had 6 main columns and a maximum capacity of 8,000 people. The main nave included the monumental cross, which was illuminated from the base up, projecting a large cross-shaped shadow in the ceiling. The right nave included the Stations of the Cross icons and the Rosary Chapel with the Virgin of Rosary icon. The left nave included the icons of the birth of Jesus and the baptism of Jesus, with a waterfall symbolizing the Jordan River. So I've got a picture here of the actual cross.
Okay, 1 second. Here we go. Wow. Look at that. It almost has I mean, I know it's coming from the phone, but it almost does kind of have like an appearance like it's actually glowing.
Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it?
It's like, it also kind of has like a crystal like look to it too. So yeah, it definitely is very beautiful.
It reminds me of like fiber optic lenses. You know, when you put a light in the end of a fiber optic cable, the light travels along it, making the whole thing illuminate.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
And
I know exactly what that is.
you just think, wow, that is so cool.
It really is.
But then we go on to the new cathedral. The Industrial Investment Institute, together with Salinas Concession and the Colombian Society of Architects, opened a contest for the design of the new cathedral. The winner, which was the project presented by Roswell Garavito Pearl, which included structural changes in the access tunnel and the dome. In 1991, the construction of a new cathedral was undertaken, 200 feet under the older one. This new cathedral was inaugurated in December the 16th, 1995. Its various corridors and sanctuaries were achieved by making small but significant additions to the caves left behind by previous mining operations. So the main sections of the new cathedral building were the Stations of the Cross at the entrance of the church, and there are 14 small chapels representing the Stations of the Cross, which illustrate the events of Jesus' last journey. Each station has a cross and several kneeling platforms carved into the halite structure. The dome, located at the end of the main descending entrance ramp. From here, the visitor descends to the bas relief cross chambers, the balcony, and the narthex labyrinth. Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that when they say a labyrinth. The three naves, they are interconnected by a crack symbolizing the birth and death of Christ. Copies of Creation of Adam and Pieta can be seen. And then there's four large cylindrical columns representing the four evangelists. And the cathedral has an electrical generator and access for vehicles to the inner space for emergencies only. I had read somewhere when I was looking up on the research of this that it now actually can house up to, or can have up to 10,000 people at any one time, which is pretty big.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Definitely.
Then it gets weirder because the cathedral, although you've got two cathedrals on top of each other, is within a larger complex. And it's called the Salt Park, which also includes a museum of mining, mineralogy, geology, and natural resources. The Salt Park covers an area of 32 hectares or 79 acres, and visitors can observe pieces of art, depictions of the mining process, geology displays, educational exhibits, and about environmental friendly mining and sustainable development. And there's so many different sort of within that complex. You can go to the Sacred Access, which is a square with a halite hand carved cross, the Salt Dome itself, the mine itself. Then you've got the Brine Museum, where visitors learn about the extraction process of salt from the halite. Also, exhibitions of the geological studies, engineering, and architecture process in the creation of the cathedral can be seen. There's a reservoir, the forests underground.
Yeah, forests underground.
And the Salt Auditorium.
Oh, interesting. Okay, wow.
This is, I'm sure this is quite possibly. This is part of the Salt Park.
Wow.
I mean, that would freak me out.
Visit that place.
That would freak me out just being down there.
Yeah, I probably would too.
I'd be thinking to myself, my word, do I really want to go this far down?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's how bizarre. See, and again, this just reiterates my point about strange things or or weird places. Like Von says, I'd love to visit this place.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it
never
just
knew it existed.
I would never think in a million years that something like that would exist myself.
And I always said to myself that, I'd love to go to the one in Poland. Not because I'm religious, but it's the building itself, how it's been carved out of the rock salt.
Yeah.
And just think to yourself, oh my word, this is just strange. Right, I've got to find it again. Right, it's called, right, for Von, this is the Zipaquira salt mine. If I write it down, the Zipaquira, my word, I've actually spelt it better than I can say it. Salt Cathedral. Right, Von, and that's in Colombia. I managed to spell that right as well. There you go, Von.
Oh, wait, Vaughn's asking that again. What is the name of that? There you go.
I've put it into the chat for you, Von. So there we are. Right. Now we're going to go really strange.
Oh boy, the strangest is yet to come.
Basically, when I saw a picture of this, I'm like, oh my word, that is freaky. Oh no, I don't want that one. I want that one. There we go. Right. Now, I thought this was just a myth. However, this did exist, and it still does. And if I was to go swimming and I was to come across this, I don't think I'd be swimming much longer. So here we go. This is called the goblin shark.
Oh, the goblin shark. I've heard of that. Hang on, let's zoom in on that. Yes, the goblin shark. It's a very bizarre looking shark.
Yeah, you can imagine going out swimming one day, and I remember people saying, if you're confronted with a shark, punch it on the nose, it won't come back. Try punching that on the nose.
It's like its nose is taking up half of its face.
I'd be like, nah, you're all right. I think I'll leave him alone. Certainly wouldn't want to argue with that. Same as a great white. But the goblin shark, otherwise known as the Mitsukarina ostoni, how is it I could pronounce that?
Yeah, I wonder that too.
When it came to talking about cathedral, I struggled. Yeah. It's a rare species of deep sea shark. Sometimes called a living fossil, it is the only extant representative of the family Mitsukarinae. I reckon I've got Japanese blood in me somewhere.
Yeah.
Blimey. I can't believe I actually said that.
I can't believe it either.
A lineage some 125 million years old. This pink-skinned animal has a distinctive profile with an elongated, flat snout and highly protrusible jaws containing prominent nail-like teeth. It is usually between 3 and 4 meters long when mature, though it can grow considerably larger, such as one captured in 2000 that is thought to have measured 6 meters. Goblin sharks are benthopelagic creatures that inhabit upper continental slopes, submarine canyons, and seamounts. When it said continental slopes, I could picture it skiing for some reason.
Basically, it's exactly what you would imagine. I mean, it's a pink shark with like a bluish tint to it too, like with veins or something like that. And I remember hearing too, I mean, goblin sharks were pretty much recently discovered over 100 years ago. So they've been around for quite a long time, since at least the early 1920s.
Yeah, and basically they're discovered throughout the world at depths greater than 100 meters.
Yeah, they're not just seen. I was going to say they're not only just seen in Japan; they're seen in other coastal waters too.
Yeah, Some researchers believe that these sharks could also dive to depths of up to 1,300 meters for short periods of time. So they've got quite a I don't know, quite an ability there, really, haven't they, to get that deep?
They do. They really do. They're like. It's funny. It's like they're the type of shark that, like, during the day they're like deep sea bottom dwellers, but then at night when they come up, they basically approach near the surface of the water.
Oh, I've just realised something's sticking across the screen here. Hang on. Has that moved it?
Yeah, no. I thought I saw something by the side of the screen. I was thinking, what the hell is that?
Well, part of my Halloween decorations.
Okay. I've actually, you're going to find this hard to believe, but, I don't know if they've ever truly been like a
husband and wife pair.
Of course. I don't know if they're really considered like a well, they're not really a delicacy like in Japan, but I heard they often are usually kind of a nuisance to like the fishing industries. Because they eat a lot of the prey, obviously. What's kind of funny actually is that even the goblin shark has so far only once ever been used as, because like you look at a country like Japan, they're known for obviously the giant monster movies like the Godzilla and Gamera franchises. And there was even one movie in the Gamera franchise where they used a goblin shark as a giant alien monster, where they were called Zigra. And he's like one of the few. He's literally, what's even stranger, he is one of the very few kaiju, as they call him, of course, that actually has the ability to speak. Not with his giant mouth, of course, though. He's got this like crystal above his head, and it lights up. And when it lights up, you hear this human-like voice coming out of it. It's just so, and what that movie is, it's called Gamera versus Zigra, which is regarded as one of the worst Gamera films ever made. But what's funny, he's an alien monster in this film with the intention of enslaving the human race and raising them like cattle. Apparently, he came from a planet where instead of people eating fish, fish eat people. And even the planet he comes from is called Zigra. So it's even been used in movies, like as a way to parody them.
I think as well with this particular shark is that when I was reading about it, I got Ridley Scott's Alien vibes from it.
Yeah,
because when it feeds, its jaws extend.
Yeah, I've seen the videos.
I'm thinking, wow, you can think you're safe, and then all of a sudden his jaw just goes back.
Yeah, I've seen the video of it. Like they've shown it like on the Discovery Channel Shark Week, and they even do it slow motion. Like its jaw literally dislocates from the rest of its head, and just grab, like almost like it was if it was like a hand to begin with. It is just the most bizarre type of bite I think I've ever seen from any species of sharks.
Just grab its jaw and then pull, so it just becomes this sack of skin.
It's almost like as if the mouth suddenly became for a brief second its own entity, almost almost like it had a mind of its own.
I mean, it's weird because they've described it that the goblin shark has a distinctively long and flat snout, a bit like a sword. The proportional length of the snout decreases with age, so it actually gets smaller the older the shark gets.
Yep.
The eyes are small and lack protective, they call it nictitating membranes.
Yeah, it's like an eyelid.
Yeah, behind the eyes are spiracles. The large mouth is parabolic in shape. The jaws are very protrusible and can be extended almost to the end of the snout. So depending on how long the snout is, will be roughly how long it can extend the jaw.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's just amazing of how they are able to launch their jaw like that. And surprisingly, to this day, at least as far as I or anyone else knows, nobody has ever actually been reported to have been bitten or attacked by the goblin shark. At least not yet, that is. And that doesn't mean it could ever happen. But, That's the other thing that makes the species of shark unique, is that there have been no reported attacks by the shark.
I think a lot of it probably could be to do with its snout. Obviously with likes of the great white shark, its mouth is sort of pretty close to the front, so that it can actually attack what it's going for. With a snout like that, you'd be bumping it all the time. You'd be pushing it away every time you went to take it. That's why it needs the extendable jaw.
Yeah, it does. Well, the other thing too, and like I just mentioned before, I think it's also because, like I said, during the day, they usually spend most of their time down far deeper in the ocean. And people swimming in the ocean are less likely to have a chance to see a goblin shark. So that's probably another reason why no one's ever been attacked. I mean, unless they are risking to swim at night, there's more likely a chance you're going to get bit by one. But so far, no one's ever has been attacked by them.
Yeah. Evening, Annette. I'll just quickly put that before we get told off for ignoring her. Hey, Annette. But this is where I got fascinated. Okay. It has 35 to 53 upper and 31 to 62 lower tooth rows.
Yeah.
Not teeth, but rows.
They're rows. They got a lot of them.
And the teeth are in the main part of the jaws are long and narrow, particularly those near the symphysis, or the jaw midpoint, and are finely grooved lengthwise. The rear teeth near the corners of the jaw are small and have a flattened shape for crushing. Much individual variation of tooth length and width occurs, as for whether the teeth have a smaller cusplet on each side of the main cusp, and regarding the presence of the toothless gaps at the symphysis or between the main and rear teeth. The 5 pairs of gill slits are short, with the gill filaments inside partially exposed. The 5th pair is above the origin of the pectoral fins. So what a mouth!
Yeah, it's definitely one of the strangest sharks you could ever come across with its mouth. I mean, there was actually a series that aired on Shark Week on the Discovery Channel. I think the goblin shark was obviously one of them. They called it Alien Sharks, and it shows you the most bizarre sharks. And I think the goblin shark might have been one of the first that they showed, because that's the one that I think that gets more attention than a lot of the other ones do.
Yeah. I mean, like you said earlier on about them being found all over the place, the goblin shark has been caught in all 3 major oceans, indicating a wide global distribution.
Yep.
In the Atlantic Ocean, it has been recorded from the northern Gulf of Mexico, Suriname, French Guiana, and southern Brazil in the west, and France, Portugal, Madeira, and Senegal in the east. It has also been collected from seamounts along the mid-Atlantic ridge in the Indo-Pacific and Oceania. It has been found off South Africa, Mozambique, Japan, Taiwan, Australia, and New Zealand. This species has been recorded from off East Cape and Kaikoura Canyon, and from the Challenger Plateau near New Zealand.
Yeah.
A single Eastern Pacific specimen is known, collected off Southern California. This species is most often found over the upper continental slope at depths of 270 to 960 meters, and it has been caught as deep as 1,300 meters. And a tooth has been found lodged in an undersea cable at the depth of 1,370 meters.
Yep.
Ouch. During July 2014, a goblin shark, I keep saying goblin, it was hungry. A goblin shark was found in a fishery net in Sri Lanka, near the eastern coast of Sri Lanka. The shark was about 4 foot long and weighed about 7.5 kilos. The shark was given to the NRA for further research. Some of the first known findings pertaining to the goblin shark were published in 1910, and the researcher wrote that the new shark is certainly grotesque, and that the most remarkable feature is the curiously elongated nose. Given the depths of which it lives, the goblin shark poses little danger to humans. A few specimens have been collected alive and brought to public aquariums, though they only survived briefly. One was kept at Tokai University and lived for a week, while another was kept at Tokyo Sea Life Park and lived for 2 days. Its economic significance is minimal. The meat may be dried and salted, while the jaws fetch high prices from collectors. At one time, the Japanese also used it for liver oil and fertilizer.
That's right.
The shark is not targeted by any fisheries, but is occasionally found as bycatch in bottom gill nets and trawls, hooked on the long lines, or entangled in fishing gear. Most captures are isolated instances. One of the few areas where it's caught regularly is off of southern Japan, where only 30 individuals are taken each year. A black scabbard fishery off Madeira also takes 2 or 3 goblin sharks annually. During April 2003, more than 100 goblin sharks were caught off of northwestern Taiwan. The cause of the event was unknown, though observers noted it was preceded by a major earthquake. The species had never been recorded in the area before, nor has it been found in such numbers since. So it's quite possible there that the earthquake, obviously because they were floating around on the bottom of the ocean now, and the earthquakes disturbed them.
Yeah, most likely may be the case. Vaughn happened to say, by the way, Saber to stay out of the water.
I don't know the way some of these water companies in the UK have been treating it at the moment. Regardless of whether there's a goblin shark in the water or not, you still wouldn't want to go in.
Be flattened probably in pieces by the time it got as far as the throat. Yeah. She's talking about like when it dislocates its jaw. Yeah.
It certainly would, like I say, it reminds me of Alien, the film.
It does. It really does.
So that is the lovely goblin shark. What a lovely thing that is. Excuse me. And now we're going to go to something truly weird. Again, it's natural, but it's not a living creature. Now, this is called... Now, I've got to get this one right because it's pretty weird. I think it's called Aigen Geopark. And it's mostly well known for blue lava.
Blue lava?
Blue lava. See? I've got you interested.
If there's a picture of this, I gotta see.
Okay. I'll have to try and turn it sideways to make sure I get it right.
Okay, hang on.
There we go.
What? That's blue lava.
Supposedly blue lava.
It looks just like water almost.
It does. And I personally think that is water. However, I looked at the write-up for this, and it's actually called... It's an actual thing because of sulfur. And this is what's made it blue. And it's actually called the Blue Fire Crater.
Blue Fire Crater. Okay, so that actually does make a little bit more sense. I have heard of that before.
Yeah. Now, it's actually... I'll have to go back to the top because it'll explain where this place is. The Aigen Volcano Complex is a group of composite volcanoes located on the border between the Banyuwangi Regency and Bondowoso Regency of East Java in Indonesia. It is known for its blue fire, acidic crater lake, and labor-intensive sulfur mining. Now, it is inside the eponymous larger caldera Aigen, which is about 20 kilometers wide. The Gunung Merapi stratovolcano is the highest point of that complex. The name Gunung Merapi means mountain of fire in the Indonesian language. Mount Merapi in central Java and Merapi in Sumatra have the same etymology even. Now, the Aigen Geopark stretches across It is located across the entire regency, which is specifically in the Mount Ijen area, Pulau Mara Beach, and Alaspuro National Park. It has various geological, biological, and cultural sites, and it became a part of UNESCO Global Geoparks at the 10th conference held in Marrakesh. West of Gunung Merapi is the Ijen volcano, which has a 1 kilometer wide turquoise-coloured acidic crater lake. The lake is in the site of a labour-intensive sulphur mining operation, in which sulphur-laden baskets are carried by hand from the crater floor. The work is paid well considering the cost of living in the area, but is very onerous. Workers earn, now this is great, $13 a day.
$13 a day. Wow.
It's got to be cheap over there.
It's got to be. That's really cheap.
I would be working for that. But that provided they're out the crater, they still need to carry their loads of sulphur chunks about 3 kilometers to the nearby Polterdon Valley to get paid for it. So they've got to risk their lives getting the sulphur into the baskets, crawl it out of the volcano, and then walk another 3 kilometers just to get paid what could, well,
I don't even know how you can do that.
To do one basket.
I seriously don't even have an idea of how you could do that. I just don't.
Can you imagine? They get $13 a day. It's probably only one basket because the amount of distance they've got to travel. Can you imagine some complete wally, some complete idiot goes, oh, well, if that's only one basket, I could do that. It's only 3 kilometers. And they go over there with a basket and they're like, hey, come on then, let's make $1 million. Come on, let's go. And they've got down there and they've got into the crater and they've like, we seriously think we've got to walk back up there? We've now got to walk another 3 kilometers to get our money? Nah.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
No chance.
There's just no way. There's just no way.
It's terrible, isn't it? That's almost like trying to dig the elements needed to make the electric batteries for cars.
Oh, yeah.
You know, why?
Yeah, right?
I mean, you want to go out mining the cobalt, but then once it's been mined, they use sulfuric acid to clean it and to get the individual components. And I think it's something like 30,000 gallons a day.
That is just nuts.
And so you're like, and there's more reason not to have an electric vehicle because it's actually causing more environmental damage. Just getting the elements for the battery than what a fossil fuel car is.
I know.
Crazy.
Oh man, yeah. Anyway. No, that is just. I don't even know what to say about that.
Back to sulfur mining. Now, many other post-caldera cones and craters are located within the caldera or along its rim. The largest concentration of post-caldera cones run east to west across the southern side of the caldera. The active crater at Kawah Ijen has a diameter of 722 meters and a surface area of 0.41 kilometers square. It is 200 meters deep and has a volume of 36 cubic hectometers. So that's about 29,000 acre feet or something silly like that. So that's fairly big.
Yeah.
The lake is recognized as the largest highly acidic crater lake in the world. It is also a source of the river Banyapahit. I said that.
Wait, what?
The Banyapahit.
Wow.
That's how I'm reading it. Banyapahit.
Yeah.
And that's resulting in a highly acidic and metal-enriched river water, which has a significant detrimental effect on the downstream river ecosystem. During a scientific expedition in 2001, the pH of the lake was measured at 0.03 on July 14th and 15th of 2008. Explorer George Karounis took a small rubber boat out onto the acid lake to measure its acidity. The pH of the water at the lake's edges was measured to be 0.5, and in the middle of the lake was 0.13 due to a high concentration of sulfuric acid.
Jeez.
And he went out there in a rubber boat.
Oh my God. Wow. That is just, I don't even know. I'm just like.
I think I'd want to go out in one of those beakers that hold acid. Because it wouldn't melt beneath me. So on to the Blue Fire crater. Since National Geographic mentioned the electric blue flame of Egen, tourist numbers have increased. The phenomenon has long been known, but midnight hiking tours are more recent offering. A 2-hour hike is required to reach the rim of the crater, followed by a 40-minute hike down to the bank of the crater. The blue fire is ignited sulfuric gas, which emerges from the cracks at temperatures up to 600 degrees centigrade. The flames can be up to 5 meters high. Some of the gas condenses to liquid and is still ignited. Egen is the largest blue flame area in the world. Local people refer to it as the Api Beru, or the Blue Fire. The other location at which blue fire can be seen is the Dalol Mountain in Ethiopia.
See, I feel like I have heard of the Blue Fire since you described it. I actually heard of something similar like that because I don't know if it ever actually appeared as Blue Fire. But whoa, is that what I think it is?
That's the Blue Fire.
Oh my God. I'm just like in awe right now. Like there's an actual photo of it.
That is just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. See, what I was going to say was there's a similar fire. I don't know if it actually appears as blue, but I thought I heard of some sort like legends that it is. There's also something out there that's called Greek fire, which I don't know. Again, I thought Greek fire also was supposed to appear blue too, but it's definitely, for those that don't know what Greek fire is, it's definitely no ordinary fire. Greek fire, it possesses a flame so potent it cannot be extinguished.
Yeah, I think it's down to the chemical compound of the gases that are burning,
like car battery acid. Yeah.
So when you've got like natural gas that comes through into your cookers, it burns blue. But if there's too much air going into that gas, too much oxygen going into the gas as well, that blue flame starts changing color to a more of a yellow and an orange color. So depending on what elements are burning and what other mixtures are there will determine the color of the flame. I'm sure somewhere along the line there is also a green flame.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But you can, if you look at when some plastics are burning, you can get a green flame off of some plastics. So like chip packets or over here, crisp packets, if you used to be able to burn them, when you put them on a fire, they would burn with a green flame because of the element that's in the actual compound that you're burning. And in this case, it's sulfur.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I mean, I could just see right now, I mean, exactly how those colors would form. But again, it just sounds so much like, again, like the Greek fire that I heard of. Yep. And what words can that go when, like I said, it's the legendary flame that cannot be extinguished.
Yeah. And to think that you can go on these tours, you go on a midnight tour, so it's pitch black. There's no, there's no light pollution because you're in a volcano.
Yeah.
The last thing you're going to expect to see on a volcano is a power station,
right?
Or electric cables coming in. So you've got no light pollution, and to walk over to the crater edge and look down into the crater and see those electric blue flames coming down the hillside into the crater. That must be, like you said with that picture, spectacular sight. And
It's beautiful, but at the same time, though, it's got to be, obviously it's deadly regardless.
Yeah, it is because I mean, it's obviously it's the sulfuric acid and the sulfur that's there. It's you would have to be careful because if you inhaled that, then you're going to be in trouble. But weirdly enough, they even sell ornaments
Really?
of sulfur.
I never even knew that.
Because the tourism trade has picked up so much because of the blue flame.
Yeah.
They've made ornaments out of the sulfur, and as a result, it has become quite a big trade. And I wouldn't be surprised, they could probably make more money, rather than making $13 a day from actually mining it. You're going to end up making loads more by selling the sulfur ornaments.
Oh, yeah, I can see why.
So you wouldn't be making $13; you'd be making $1,300. You get the right tourists in, they'll be spending plenty of money, especially something like that.
Right, right.
So that's the blue flame.
That is, it just looks so unearthly in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's because we've grown up as human beings to expect fire to be sort of yellow, orange, red.
Yeah, or even orangish in a way.
And then when we look at things like gas cookers and gas fires, then we've got these blue orange flames.
You do have a point there. We do have those exactly. I mean, it's just like we do see blue flames every once in a while, like you said, with the stoves and stuff like that. I mean, I just saw that last night when I was cooking. So
but that's because we've taken out the natural sea gas. We've taken out the natural gas out of the ocean or out of the ground.
Yeah.
And we've put it into our pipes and it comes into our homes and we use it for our heating and our cooking. But when you see it coming out of a volcano crater,
yeah, like legit blue flame, not coming from like any type of like electrical outlets or something like that. That's very unusual.
It's just coming out of the ground and it's on fire. And sometimes if the flame's not there, then the tour guides actually go out and they set fire to it.
Yeah.
To make it burn. But then that would make that electric blue flame go along the surface wherever the gas is.
Right.
Create that effect. And that is what the tourists are going for. I mean, you can see gas burning anywhere you like.
See, Vaughn also says, shame the ornament isn't the same color as the flame. And she also said she could imagine that the color in pictures would pull in the tourists. It does look magnificent.
I think anything like that, I think, would be a sort of quite a pull to the tourist. But I think there's that element of danger.
Yeah, there still is, regardless.
Yeah, I would not want to take my Ellen and my 4 kids to Java and go to that area, knowing full well that I'm standing on a volcano. Where I'd be standing there 1 minute and then 2,000 degrees the next. Not my idea of a holiday.
No, it's not.
So it's it's weird. So I'm going to like the people that are on here now. This is the last one for the night.
Yeah, because we do have to wrap up soon.
And I'm going to ask you, try and give me the name of this cute little devil because I think he's gorgeous. And I would so love to have one of these in a fish tank.
Whoa. What the hell is that?
Does anybody know what that is?
Looks like something made from the blue fire. Like it actually created some creature.
Yeah. Okay. So that, oddly enough, they have called it a blue dragon. However, it's not. It's called the Blue Angel Sea Slug.
I was gonna say if you talk blue dragon, now I can see why it could have been made of something from the blue flame.
Yeah, it's it's its botanical name is Glaucus and Atlanticus.
Oh, jeez.
So commonly, oh, hello, commonly known as the blue sea dragon, sea swallow, blue angel, blue glaucus, dragon slug, blue dragon, blue sea slug, and the blue ocean slug. So it's got all these different names.
This overload. Well, she also says, no doubt, must be poisonous.
Ah, well. This is a species of small blue sea slug, a pelagic aeolid nudibranch. That sounded weird.
Yeah, never heard of that before.
Yeah, a aeolid. Do you know what? Now you've never heard of that before. I've never either. So I'm gonna have a look what it means. The aeolid. No, we're not going to bother because that's just too. I can't even get my tongue around half of what that said. Anyway, it's a shellless gastropod mollusk in the family Glucidae. Why did that sound Australian when I said that?
Yeah, I know, it kind of did.
G'day. It's part of the G'day family. These sea slugs are pelagic. They float upside down by using the surface tension of the water to stay up, where they are carried along by the winds and ocean currents. So it makes use of counter shading. The blue side of their bodies face upwards, blending in with the blue of the water. The silver grey side of the sea slugs face downwards, blending in with the sunlight reflecting on the ocean's surface when viewed facing upwards underwater. It feeds on other pelagic creatures, including the Portuguese man of war and other venomous siphonophores. How did I say that at this time of night?
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know.
But this sea slug stores stinging nematocysts.
You're learning a lot of new words tonight.
If I wake up in the middle of the night and say nematocysts, I ain't going to be happy. But from the siphonophores within its own tissues as defense against predators. So it is poisonous. Humans handling the slug.
Vaughn, you were right then.
Yeah. Humans handling the slug may receive a very painful and potentially dangerous sting.
I can't imagine like how that. I don't know if you would eat for breakfast with.
It was the Collins dictionary on toast.
But yeah, I mean, I can imagine how the sting must be. I mean, knowing that it's got to be extremely dangerous.
I would have said so. If it's eating things like the Portuguese man of war, I don't think I'd be. I wouldn't be picking it up. I think a lot of animals, they have these colorings and these markings to warn predators away, to say, don't touch me because I'm going to cause you problems.
Yeah, you're going to die, basically.
It's a bit too late if a bird comes along and pecks it in half, but, it's still going to be dead, but at least the bird will have it as well.
I've been practicing these words for a week.
To be honest, this is the first time I've actually read all of this, so these words are completely new to me. I looked at that and gone, what? I've got to say that? But the species looks similar to and is closely related to the Marginitus, which is now understood to be not one species, but a cryptic species complex of 4 separate species that live in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It shares the common name blue dragon with Pteriolida ayanthina and Marginitus.
I'm having trouble keeping up with all these words, to be honest with you.
Why they can't just call it sea slug?
Yeah.
Crumbs. But at maturity, the sea slug can, because I'm not going to say its proper name, the sea slug can be up to 3 centimeters in length, which isn't that big, really. Though larger specimens have been found. It can live up to a year under the right conditions. It is silvery grey on its dorsal side and dark and pale blue ventrally. It has dark blue stripes on its head. It has a flat, tapered body and 6 appendages that branch out in a rayed finger-like carata. It's practicing martial arts now. Carata, also known as papillae, extend laterally from 3 different pairs of peduncles.
I think I've heard of that word, actually.
Peduncle. I mean, that was an easy word to pronounce, but what is a peduncle?
I've heard of that word, but I have no idea what that means.
I'm giving myself a headache.
I'm honestly, for me, I am just so lost right now. Again, I can't keep up with all of it.
I need an aspirin. Anyway, the papillae are placed in a single row and may be up to 84 inches total. So I'm lost because this thing can grow up to 3 centimeters long, but these peduncles, wherever they are, the papillae, they can grow up to 84 inches.
My God.
Holy moly. I reckon the papillae must be like a, I don't know, could it be like the jellyfish's stingers?
I don't know, or better yet, are they even worse than jellyfish stingers?
I know papillae are like the bumps on a tongue. Ah, yes. But 84 inches long?
Like bumps on a tongue.
That's a big tongue.
Little slug.
Cool. But
wow.
the sea slug is usually found in tropical, subtropical areas, floating at the ocean surface due to the stored gulped air inside its stomach. It usually feeds on, here we go, cnidarians, which can be noisy due to air escaping its stomach as it feeds. So in other words, it burps.
Okay.
Or farts, one of the two. The radula of this species bears serrated teeth. Oh, great. Which, paired with strong jaw and denticles, that's got to be a spelling mistake, allows it to grasp and chip down parts of its prey.
Wow.
So it's got teeth.
My God. See, that's hard to believe that it has teeth.
It's just weird because it looks so cute and it looks really pretty. Yet it's got teeth and 84-inch things.
Yeah, and it's so dangerous too.
My God.
It's poisonous.
That's horrible. And it literally, with the aid of a gas-filled sac in its stomach, the sea slug floats on the surface. And due to the location of the gas sac, this species floats upside down. So a bit like the swimming bladder in a goldfish.
Yeah.
Or in most fishes, it's in a certain place so it keeps it upright. The upper surface is actually the foot. And this is either a blue or blue-white coloration. The true dorsal surface is completely silver grey. This coloration is an example of counter shading, which helps protect it from predators that might attack from below and from above. The blue coloration is also thought to reflect harmful ultraviolet light. Oh,
wow.
Oh, I certainly wouldn't hold one, but it looks cute.
It does. Well, or put it this way. If you hold one of those, yeah, it will be fun until it stings you, of course. And that is probably going to be the last thing you'll ever hold in your hand if it's a deadly sting.
But doesn't it look so much like a Pokemon?
It kind of does. How's it? That should be considered a real Pokemon right there.
I'll tell you, some guy was brave enough to hold one in his hand.
Unless it was dead already, though.
I don't know, but they look gorgeous.
Can they be kept as pets as Vaught said? Must be more than 3 centimeters. It wouldn't be able to drag its tongue.
I think you probably, to be honest, I think you probably could if it was in the right conditions, because it swims on the surface.
Yeah.
So it must be. I mean, it was tropical and subtropical areas. So if you've got a tropical fish tank, I can't see why you couldn't keep it as a pet.
Yeah, that's possible.
So although, where are we? Oh, right. So let's have a look. This nudibranch is pelagic, and some evidence indicates that it occurs throughout the world's oceans in temperate and tropical waters. It has been recorded from the east and south coasts of South Africa, European waters, the east coast of Australia, and Mozambique. The sea slug species geographical range increased northward by 150 kilometers of the Gulf of California. Since the middle of the 19th century, records of this species have been reported on the Azores. It was recently found in the Humboldt Current ecosystem in Peru in 2013 and off of the Andhra Pradesh in India in 2012. This is in line with the known habitat characteristics of the species, and they thrive in warm temperate climates in the southern Pacific and circumtropical and Lusitanian environments. Although these sea slugs live in the open ocean, they sometimes accidentally wash up on the shore, so they may be found on beaches. In April 2022, specimens were found in the Gulf of Mexico along the Texas coast. And on August the 31st, 2023, so that was just recently, blue sea slugs were reported to be found along Karen Beach, Phuket in Thailand.
Really? Wow.
I came so close to saying something else then when I saw that. My mum went to Phuket in Thailand, and when she came back, she turned around to me and she said, "We've been to the strangest place," and she actually said what she called it. I'm not saying that word on here.
I don't blame you for that.
So yeah. So before we go, I will tell you about the sting.
Yeah, let's talk about the sting.
The sea slug is able to swallow the venomous nematocysts from the cephalophores, such as the Portuguese man of war, and store them in extremities of its finger-like carata. Picking up the animal can result in a painful sting, with symptoms similar to those caused by the Portuguese man of war. The symptoms that may appear after being stung are nausea, pain, vomiting, acute allergic contact dermatitis, arrhythmia, urticarial papules, potential vesicle formation, and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I got the last one. So yes, they probably could be kept as pets, but don't touch them.
Yeah, it's just one of those classic examples. You can look, but you better not touch.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'll make you, but I'm not touching it.
You could not even pay me to try touching one of those things.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is, though, as a child, if you saw one of those, you would be aware of that danger. Well, could you imagine sort of being on holiday in somewhere like Indonesia or Thailand or somewhere that would have them in the water? You're walking along the beach with your children, and all of a sudden, your kid goes, "Look at this, Daddy!
Check this out!
This blue," and you're like, "Whoa!
No, don't touch it! Don't touch it, son! Get away!"
I think I'd be using whatever I had nearby to just literally smack it out of his hand as quick as possible.
I would. I mean, I would even say the simplest thing, like saying, "This is dangerous, kid." One sting of that, you're done for.
I wouldn't have even said that. I'd have just gone, smack out his hand as quick as possible. Get rid of it. Whoa! But it'll probably then be that'll be when, as it's leaving his hand, it'll be when it stings him.
Yeah. Even if he swipes it off, like, there you go. Now you've been stung. You're done for, kid.
But what a
I
little cutie.
even wonder, like, exactly like what kind of medical attention somebody would get if they did get stung by one of them.
I'm not sure. I think I mean, it says it's like being stung by the Portuguese man of war. So if that's the case, it's quite possible that
You probably
um,
would get the same treatment then.
you'd probably have to do what they normally do, and that's pee on it.
Yes. Well, and that's, you know what, people sometimes also fail to realize that, like, when it comes to like jellyfish stings, you don't want to do that. Actually,
Yeah.
turns it contrary to popular belief.
I think this picture has been superimposed somewhere along the line, because I don't think you'll find them that big.
Yeah, I was gonna say they shouldn't be that big in appearance.
Nah, definitely not. So yes, that's my Wayne's Weird and Wonderful World.
I gotta say that was quite amazing. I mean, I don't even know really what to say, like, in a simple perspective, but it's just like, wow, how did I not? Except with the exception of the Goblin Shark, it's like one of those things I'm thinking, how did I not know all this stuff before?
And that's the reason why I decided to do it, because I thought there's so many weird, strange, but amazing and beautiful things out there that so many people know nothing about.
Well, you certainly amazed me. I gotta admit. So, but yeah, I think we'll probably wrap this up because I got the other show in about 2 hours. Not sure really don't know what's going on for Frighteners tomorrow. I mean, I know there was a message sent, but I've been so busy, I haven't really been able to look at a lot of messages lately. So
yes, I've been flat out getting things ready for Halloween and changing my front garden, and
well,
I spent the last 2 days taking all the stones off my front garden, LED lights down onto the ground, and then covering them back up with the stones. And we have them all lit up at the moment, and it's just literally my whole front garden is ice blue.
Really? Is it ice blue like the flames, or the
no, it is. Trust me, it is ice blue, like them blue flames.
like blue flames.
The lights are coming up out of the stones. So on Halloween, I'll have gravestones and zombies coming up out of the ground, and that ice blue light is going to illuminate them.
That's going to look pretty cool. You got to take pictures of it.
Well, I've been taking pictures. I know I've put one lot of pictures up on my profile already of the stonework that I did with the lights in. Literally, from moved the stones to when I actually took a picture of the lights on in the dark.
It does look very effective.
It's once it's finished with all the other props that I've got to put out there as well. I think it's going to look pretty good. So
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing that when you eventually post pictures. And Vaughn, you're very welcome, by the way. So do a regular one. Love learning about new things.
Yeah, we're hoping we were going to see how tonight's show goes. And it's possible that if everything goes well tonight, then I may be doing a regular slot on the Simply Spooky Network doing Wayne's Weird and Wonderful World. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be awesome to see something like that, like an eventual spin-off, if you will.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been thinking of this idea for quite some time now. And it was something I was going to do, but wasn't too sure what platform to do it on, because I have my Wayne Seaton Presents Spooky Nori, which is my ghost stories, and that's it. And I wasn't too sure whether I wanted to put it on there, or whether to start another group where it's just Wayne's Weird and Wonderful World and just do those sort of things from there. But Viv has said, would you like to, if it goes, then we'll see about putting it on Simply Spooky on a regular basis. So, yeah.
Anything weird and wonderful is interesting. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think so. And I think as paranormal investigators, we're already sort of part of the way there, because we're into a subject that the majority of people aren't interested in. Yet we are.
Yeah, we are still. regardless.
So whether you like ghosts, cryptids, UFOs, it's something mainstream people don't really take notice of, but we do. So anything that's weird is going to be interesting to us.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
It's so there you go.
All right. Well, we'll pray. Yeah, it is. It really is. But anyways, we just hit the 2-hour mark, so I think it's time that we definitely got to put this to an end because, like I said, I got another show in less than 2 hours, and I'd like to have a little break in between with supernatural talk. So I think I don't know if we're having I think we are having Donald on kind of as a guest, but other than that, I think it's just going to be an open mic chat. So either way, it'll still be a good show. Looking forward to it. And that's pretty much all I got to say. So it's too bad that Lois, Rosie, and Grizzly weren't able to join us, but hopefully they'll be back next week. Great night, great guys. Time for Wayne to close his dictionary.
Throw it away.
We learned a lot of new words today, too, thanks to you.
So did I. I didn't realise my mouth could get those words out. I'll be mute tomorrow now. You watch.
Yeah, probably.
I've used my really good words up now, so I'll probably be quiet until after the weekend.
Yeah, that's probably the case. But anyways, thank you guys. Thank you all for everybody who tuned in. We'll see some of you guys probably later tonight on Supernatural Talk and also possibly the Frighteners. But if not, we'll see you guys next week. So you guys all have a great night. Take it easy.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.